as you can see here, it says Heather Kramer, caretaker, person allegedly responsible, at 87 Poplar in Alexandria, which is where I live. Okay. And these are just like over the years, times that DHR had been called to my house. And it says no safety threats are present at this time and no safety plan is needed. No safety plan was done due to the fact that there was no evidence to suggest that Miss Kramer was currently using drugs and that she was not adequately supervising her child. And these files are like forever, endless. But I highlighted all these. These were different attempts to try to reach people that allegedly made claims about me, but could never be reached. So, considering how serious that was, I think they may have been available to comment, but they weren't, and that's just my opinion. And opinions vary. This report was made of physical abuse. The child is currently staying with his father and will return to his mother on 12/4/09. Okay. Mr. Kramer informed the worker that Miss Kramer's meth use led to their divorce, which, again, y'all saw the divorce papers. It didn't say that. Mr. Kramer stated he planned to speak with an attorney and seek full custody, which he never did until this past year in October. Okay. This is one where they're asking my child, and it says the worker asked Gavin what grade he was in. He replied that he was in kindergarten. The worker asked Gavin if he liked school. He replied that he does. The worker asked Gavin what his favorite thing about school was. He replied he liked to draw. The worker noticed that Gavin seemed a bit shy during the interview. He also appeared to be slightly confused about why he was there. The worker asked Gavin if he liked it when he stayed with his mother. He replied that he did. The worker asked Gavin if he had ever been scared staying at his mother's. He replied that he didn't. The worker asked Gavin what he liked about going to his mother's house. Gavin did not really reply. He appeared confused at the question. Why you would ask a 3-year-old what's so fun about his mom? It's like, duh. The worker asked Gavin if his mother or father were ever mean to him. Gavin replied that his father whips him sometimes. The worker asked Gavin if his mother ever took anything that made her act funny sometimes. Gavin shook his head. The worker asked Gavin if he had any questions for her. He shook his head. The worker thanked Gavin for talking to her, and this concluded the interview. So, then again, they came and observed my home and spoke with me, and I asked them to come in. She asked me what kind of discipline I give my son, and I said they asked me that, and then this is their statement. She stated that she usually never has to discipline Gavin because he is a good child. Miss Kramer stated that she ever did need to discipline Gavin, she sends him to timeout. Miss Kramer stated she occasionally uses spankings, but she usually never has to. The worker asked Miss Kramer if she would submit to a drug screen. She replied that she would. The worker called Making a Difference and requested a drug screen for Miss Kramer. Miss Kramer has working utilities, the kitchen had adequate food, the home appeared well kept, and there were no safety concerns noted. Miss Kramer did not appear under the influence during the visit and answered all questions appropriately. She did not see any safety threats or plans or concerns. So her last statement is, the worker called Miss Kramer and asked her how she planned to keep this from happening again, and if Gavin could have got hurt. Miss Kramer stated that this had not happened again since the one time, and it was the first time it had ever happened, but she would make a point to set her alarm and check on it throughout the night. The worker informed Mr. Kramer that Miss Kramer submitted to a drug screen and passed, and that she had interviewed Miss Kramer and saw her home. The worker informed Mr. Kramer that she did not see any safety threats when she talked with Miss Kramer. Mr. Kramer said, okay. They again try to reach the girl that made an accusation but couldn't. The worker asked Mr. Kramer if Gavin has ever told him that his mother acts funny sometimes. Mr. Kramer stated that Gavin has never told him this. The worker asked his father will stay a couple of nights, but that he usually stays at his girlfriend's house. This case also was marked not indicated. This also claim was not indicated in idiot-proof tabs. No safety plan, no threats, they were not concerned. This is DHR again, by the way. My acronym for them is Destroying Human Relationships. This again was not indicated, but also I highlighted here, it says, the incident had happened at the mother's house who has primary placement. This is a DHR statement. These are again reports, idiot-proofed. But this one's, they're saying, this is when they met with Gavin. The worker met with Gavin Kramer in his room. He noted to be clean and dressed appropriate in shorts and a t-shirt. He has dark brown hair and appears older than 5 years old. He stated that he lives with his mother. He visits with his father. He has to also follow rules, and he doesn't get into trouble very often, but is not allowed to play games or watch TV for punishment. He stated that he also has to stand in a corner for timeout. He stated that he has gotten a spanking before on his bottom, but he can't remember the last time. He stated that he doesn't get scared at his home. Then he stated that he loved being at home. He stated that he's not Josh. He's not allowed to play with his kids. This report was made. And he says, this case will be marked not indicated. Again, all these not indicated. I'm such a threat to my child. Here again, Joe says that he's going to seek custody of Gavin, which he did not, and the child returned to his mother's. Okay. These are DHR records. So if you didn't get the idea of just going through some of those DHR records, if I had little or no interest in my child since the day he was born, which is what my son's daddy's attorney has said about me, then clearly DHR wouldn't have been called to my house if I didn't have my child. Okay, but after filing all of this with the judge, the day that they took my child away, this is what the judge sent me. Plaintiff's response to defendant Heather Kramer's motion for immediate restoration of custody and her visitation pending hearing in this matter. Comes now Joseph Kramer claiming this action pursuant to the court order setting up this case number to defendant. He's responding to my motion of what I said is the following. The ex parte ordering removing the child from the custody was signed by Honorable Judge Brenda Stedham, allowing the defendant to have pendulite custody of the party's minor child. The order was not ex parte. Heather Kramer was representing herself with the motion on October 31st, 2001. She filed a response to Joseph Kramer's motion for pendulite placement, a pleading that directly responded to the motion. Counsel does not know why Heather Kramer has not shared this information. The order was based upon hearsay and speculation of the defendant. The motion was based on the verified petition that there was more than enough admissible evidence to justify the court's order. Since Heather Kramer's motion does not identify the hearsay and speculation it complains of, counsel will not undertake to try to find it or respond to what he speculates was being described by Heather Kramer. The court found otherwise. Heather Kramer's motion contains no supporting authority, factual or legal, for this assertion, which is sufficient reason for the court to summarily deny the motion, and Heather Kramer never had custody in the sense that she describes. The parties' divorce agreement awarded both parents true joint custody and shared true joint placement. Okay, then it says, it is important to Heather Kramer that the child have lived primarily with her because the DHR child support